Hi guys, I'm here to talk to you about essay number 1, the narrative argument. If I pause, it's because it's the end of the day on Thursday, and it's been a long week, and I'm really tired, and my brain is telling me to stop thinking. So if I pause quite a few times, it's because my brain's like, "Err." Anyway, so I am logged into our D2L section, as you can see. And I just wanted to show you that right here, I have the homework. I'm reminding you to read pages 163 to 165. This is the video. You're watching it right now. So you're going to get some information about the narrative argument assignment, and I'm going to give you some topic ideas in just a moment. And then remember, I've asked you to do a little research. I want you to try to find a narrative argument example. And the example doesn't have to be like the one I shared with you, the George Orwell that we read. You should read that, by the way, if you didn't read it for homework for Wednesday. We read just a little bit in class the other day, and we'll definitely be looking at that one again in class on Monday. So make sure you bring your copy back. But I want you to find one too. And remember, I spoke in class very quickly at the end of class on Wednesday when I reviewed the homework, that it can be any example. The textbook likes to point out that there are many examples of narrative argument, especially in American pop culture, in the music industry. You might even find a poem or a short story. You might find an article, a magazine article that has some narrative in it. So remember, a narrative is when someone tells a story. And so recall, even if you haven't read the Orwell piece, the part that we read, the 2 paragraphs or whatever it was, it's telling a story. It's not trying to make a point. It's not giving statistics. It's not quoting other people's opinions on the topic of the death penalty. It's just recounting the last moments of a man's life and also showing the people involved in committing this. It's committing a murder, a legal murder. So you are seeing how the author is making a point about the death penalty without him coming out and saying anything about his opinion. So it's quite interesting to read narratives like this, because we walk away being able to determine for ourselves how we feel about the topic that comes out of the story. I doubt that Orwell sat down and thought, I think I'm going to write a piece on the death penalty because I'm really against it. He observed the death penalty. He has in his memory the experience of the death penalty that he observed, and he just decided to write the story in such a way that we can tell how he feels about it. He's not pleased. He's not happy that there's a life being ended. And if you read the whole thing, you can kind of see how that develops. So make sure you read it, and we will look at it again in class on Monday. So that was a review of the homework, and I think I forgot to show you, but the extra credit that I asked you to do is there, and I've received a few of your guys' extra credit assignments already in the D2L email, which is up here. So doing a little bit of a review of D2L, since we spoke very little about it in class, and what we did speak about was very quick. So let's go look at the assignment. If you go to content, did I put this in the homework? No, but you'll be able to review this. If you go to content, so click on content. I'm waiting for it to advance. Here we go. You'll notice that I have basically three things here. This is the assignment instructions for Essay 1, the narrative argument. This is the link to George Orwell's A Hanging, which you have a paper copy of. And these are the textbook pages that you should read for Monday. If you click on page 163 and look at 163, from here you can scroll through to go to 164 and 165. I apologize. It's not really my fault. Oh, and sorry, this is upside down. You might want to download it, and then you'll be able to adjust the screen and flip it clockwise or counterclockwise to get it to go the right way. I apologize that these are in 3 different files. The copier scanner on campus in the Humanities and Letters department only scans 1 page at a time. So I've asked them to see if they can figure out if we can put all the scan pages in 1 file instead of 3. But for now, this is what we have to do. So just click on the first one and then scroll through them. Okay? So just giving you a little bit more D2L instruction, because I know some of you have used it. Maybe some of you haven't used it as much, so I'd like to be as helpful as I can. All right, let's take a look at the assignment instructions. I'm not going to read through this. I will probably assign for you to read this on Monday in class to make sure you've read it in its entirety. So I just kind of give you the focus for this assignment at the top. I tell you information in the textbook that will help you through the process of writing this essay. Here I give you information about how long the essay needs to be. This is a 3-page essay. It'll be double-spaced, so not as long as writing 3 pages single-spaced. And then we will review the MLA heading and the MLA header in class over the next couple of weeks. So you see the language there, but don't stress out about it. We'll go over it in class. That's generally how I work. Everything I ask you to do, the assignments, we will go over it in class. What is your topic? So your topic is to write, to choose a life experience that you've had that you think sort of lends itself to being written in such a way that you can tell through the details of your experience, through the narration of the story, telling it again, this experience that you've had, and description, and maybe some dialogue, and maybe description of people, description of the scene, you know, whatever you decide to include in your description. And description is usually helping the reader to experience the 5 senses. I was trying to show you your five senses. So you will choose details to include in the story that help to reveal to your reader what position you have on the topic that your story sort of introduces through the story. And so I'm going to give you some example topics in a few minutes so that you see what I mean. So that's what your topic is. So it's a little bit of a 2-step process for the topic, because you have to first think of memories, experiences you've had, and then decide whether those memories actually will help you to be commenting in a not direct way on a topic that's generally considered controversial. So harder to work the other way around, to choose a topic that's controversial and then see if you have a memory. So I just went through memories, and I'll share those in a minute. Here are the learning goals. These come from the syllabus. I just rephrased them so that they don't sound exactly the same as the syllabus. I'll let you read through these, but I tell you these are the things we're learning about writing and about research and about integrating ideas and some of the concepts that we'll be learning during the assignment. And then these items will be on the course rubric, not only for the narrative argument, but the future arguments we will write. And so I've only included in this assignment sheet, this instruction sheet, the rubric skills that I expect you to be able to show me in the narrative argument. And so for future assignments, there will be these. So how many are there? 6, looks like 8. There will be these 8 and probably more, because as we do more papers, we will add more skills, right? You'll have to show me that you can do these other skills. And then the assignment calendar. Again, this comes straight from the syllabus, so I tell you what we did during week 1 to kind of be introduced to the idea of the narrative argument. Week 2, we're going to pick our topics and do pre-drafting and minor drafting in class and practice a workshop. You guys heard about the workshop in class on Wednesday. During week 3, we have Labor Day. We won't have class on September 4th. And then our first workshop will be on September 6th. So I told you I will bring the workshop sign-up sheets next week in class, and you will get to sign up for which assignment you will workshop your 1 essay with the class. And then week 4, your narrative argument is due on Monday the 11th. And so that gives you the weekend to revise your narrative argument. One quick word. The people who are workshopping their drafts, the week 3, will obviously have a draft for us to workshop on Wednesday the 6th of September. The rest of you who are not workshopping your narrative argument will need to just be working on your draft. And so during week 3, it will be a good time for you to be writing your draft, maybe going to the writing center, getting some feedback from trained writers, trained readers to give you some good feedback on your essay. And then when you experience the workshop in class, you'll get plenty of ideas, things to consider, what you might revise in your essay for the 11th. And then that's it. So, you know, you guys will read through. I've just kind of given you a preview of the assignment. So really fast, I have written out, I actually wrote out 5 topic ideas. Woo, which way is the camera? There, this way. I've actually written out 5 ideas, but I actually think only 3 of them will work. Some of them I'm interested in, but I don't think I can write a narrative argument the way I explained to you before. So my first possible topic, and you guys will come up with your own, is that I want to write my story. I was talking to you in class about my student loans, right, that I still have some. I want to write my story of what it was like for me to work full-time when I was working on my undergrad. And my idea is that I want to choose details and describe things that were happening to me at that time, working full-time and going to school full-time, trying to get my degree, that will suggest to readers that I'm not a fan of people having to put themselves through college in this way, because it distracts you from learning in any kind of deep way. So, I'm telling you up front what I know my position is on my topic, but when I write my story, it will just be my memory of what it was like for me to to work full-time and then to try to go to school full-time, and how hard that was, how emotionally draining it was, how physically draining it was, but also how I know I didn't learn very well. I'm looking at my time to see how much time I have left. Okay, good. I'm doing okay. My second topic is about my children. I have a little bit of experience with keeping my kids home. I didn't homeschool them. I unschooled them, and there's a big difference between homeschooling and unschooling. And my idea is that I would tell a story about what happened when I kept my students. They were my students at that time. But when I kept my kids home from school to educate them. And my point that I will not make directly at all is that I don't agree with a lot of the strategies that the current primary and secondary public school institutions use to teach kids. And so I'll sort of be advocating for unschooling, and maybe even advocating a little bit for homeschooling, because not everybody can be as radical about education as unschooling requires. So I would tell a story of keeping my kids home and educating them, and what we did and the trips we took and the lessons that they chose to learn, and how I tried to supplement their learning with really kind of practical things. I didn't write a curriculum, for instance, so I'm just thinking of my memory, and I'll have to choose the details and the descriptions that I think will help people to realize that I'm against public education in America as it is today. And that doesn't mean community college. That means, like I said, primary and secondary education here in the United States. And my third topic is, oh yeah, you guys might like this one. I actually am thinking about this one the most, that it might be my best one. So I've recently, as you know, relocated to Colorado, and when I got here, lots of things in my life changed, and I found myself having to get a part-time job at a grocery store in March to just make a little extra money to make ends meet. And what I realized, and that I've realized before, is that time is way more important than money, though our American culture likes to stress money over time, and even money over relationships on some level, because we're always working so hard to make money. And we're expected to work hard to make money and go to school at the same time, which kind of relates to my other topic. So my paper would be about my experience, my memories of working at the grocery store, and what I was experiencing that was making me realize that my time on this planet experiencing really cool things is way more important than a stupid paycheck that I'm making, getting from a grocery store, and, making basically minimum wage and feeling really shitty about that experience. So the point of that essay would be to, show that time is more important than anything else. Time and relationships are more important than anything else. And then, again, I'm not writing an argument in the way that we've learned in English 121. I'm telling a story. So my job will be to tell the story of what happened at the grocery store when I worked there, and try to make readers realize through those details that I choose to include in that narrative why I've come to believe that time and relationships, time and people are more important than money. So I hope you see that choosing your topics is going to require sort of a two-step process to think through experiences you've had and to see whether those experiences can help you to make an implied point. An implied point means you never come out and say directly, what the point is. Okay, so on Monday in class, I will ask you to be thinking about topics. So maybe start thinking about a few that might work over the weekend. Nothing is due related to the topics except the ideas you bring with you to class in your head. I'll see you guys on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend.